Okay, so I haven't done a video update on this guy in a while. Um, I've been I've been procrastinating dealing with how I'm gonna do this DL accents for the glow on the side of the gun. I tried to do that before, but didn't really work out with just like a yellow uh, cut vinyl, like adhesive vinyl. Couldn't get it perfectly round really nicely for one thing, and it didn't, because of the curvature, it wouldn't sit flush. It always wanted to lift up on the edges. It's just too much of a curve. So that, ultimately I decided to paint it. I basically used a template. Where is it? I found the right size circle, similar to what I was using to initially outline and cut out the sticker decal, but instead I just kind of held it as closely as I could and found the right size, which I think was, sorry, this is backwards, but I think it was maybe here, 3/13/32 perhaps. And anyways, I put it really close and try to hold it steady while I traced with a fine pencil the outline of that, and then I just basically hand painted some yellow paint acrylic. Just kind of blobbed it on there so it could just, you know, as dry as nice and uniform as possible and make it as opaque as possible. I think I did it in at least 2 layers. And then the only thing is that paint was flat yellow, and it just did not match because the plastic parts are kind of got a bit of a gloss sheen to them in general, right? Most of these have a shine to them. So this all of a sudden this flat part just seemed kind of off. Although when you think about it, some of the printed stuff from Lego can seem kind of flat in its texture finish in comparison to what's printed on top of, but that's another matter. But I figured to make it look consistent, like it was all sort of made it one piece, to unify it, put on a clear coat. So I just put on a clear coat of what was it? This stuff here. And I didn't want to, I was going to airbrush it, but I didn't want to go through the trouble of mixing the clear coat, thinning it out, and then, you know, just to do these two things, and then the hassle really is cleaning the airbrush afterwards. And it required more of a setup too if I wanted to use my vented little air thing for airbrushing. So this, I just taped it on, sprayed on a couple of coats, and it worked out pretty good. And that was it. Just let it dry. I left it. It's been, I think it's been about a week since I did it. I just wanted to make sure it's really cured, and, you know, it's better for handling and won't leave fingerprint marks. Hopefully it still won't do that. And then now I'm gonna just, I was debating whether I should paint in the black. You know, there's a black line that goes across. But I think trying to do that by hand is harder than just trying to take a straight edge and just measure and carefully cut like strips that are about the right width. And then I'm thinking of laying it down on here, and then as close to it, and then just carefully taking a knife to lightly trim off the right ends. So it's really neat, and is the right length that goes edge to edge of the yellow circle. And that'll be that. I don't think there's a need to add another coat over it, because the finish of the decal itself anyways is basically it's basically shiny too, right? So I think, yeah, see, so it should be fine. Make sure I don't use the part that's a little bit messed up right there. Maybe try this one first. But yep, once I do that, then I'll show that, and then I'll be right back, and then I'll carefully put this back together, and then we'll see how it looks from there. All right, so I got this thing carefully applied. That's how it looks like. And looking at reference materials, I mean, where this line is orientated can be kind of almost anywhere, but I figure it makes sense to put it in line as best as possible with the barrel. And I think it looks pretty good. It looks fairly even and fairly straight and centered as far as I can tell. And so we're going to put this on this guy now. I don't have this should be a little bit tighter, but I'm thinking I might do some work on this part. And additionally, these little ball things down here. So these go on pretty simple. They just mount onto the back here, really. That. Just move it slightly out of the way. Nothing too crazy about the way these are designed. Just push them in as much as you can, and then you kind of aim out at it more or less like at a 45-degree angle. So that's what I'll try to do. The other thing I'm thinking of doing is, I feel like these need to be looking like an engine exhaust or a heat vent or something, and I can't find a good decal to do it. So what I might end up doing is, trying to get them as parallel as possible. Looks fairly good. And there you go. Let me pull this off so you can see it at a better angle. Go down, something like that. More or less. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Even if I move this up. Yeah, I like how it's turning out. I think most of this looks pretty good. So there should be like these 3 like black dots on here. I don't know what they are, what they represent on the tank itself, but I did notice that they do have it. And it's not quite this round, it's not a sphere, it's more of almost more like a dome, like more of a like in a semicircle. But the problem is making the 3 dots. The right size, all 3 the same size, and within all 3 orientated in a triangle form, you know, perfectly at a particular angle. I mean, that's going to be tricky. I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet. That might be one of the last things that I tackle. I think I want to paint the end black. I just might take some black paint and just simply paint this thing. Unless I can think of, I gotta see what this piece is again in here. I'm not sure if this is part of it, but either replace it with a black one or just paint it. Additionally, there is a little bit of detail that should be up here as well. It shouldn't be, I don't know, there should be like almost like a little detent or something. Hard to explain, but there's, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Maybe with decals as well, but I'm not 100% certain. As with the other trick too is that this decal applied, cut and applied here, getting the corners like where it bends right in there to stay down is a little bit tricky. I'm just trying to think how to address that. I do believe if I cut it right where at the angle that it's bending at, that will separate it from the other and cause it to just sit, that small piece to sit tight against that without being influenced by the rest of the material. You know what I mean? From it trying to pull and lift up. It's very thin, but it's enough for it to want to do that, I noticed. So I think those are the main areas. Add some of this detail here. So these guys, something up here, paint that black. I don't think there's much else to do in the front. Try to create some sort of vents on these pieces would be good. I don't know if the easier way is maybe replace some black ones and just call it a day, but I would like to do it, but it's going to be tricky because you got to cut a bunch of thin strips. The way I was going to do it was kind of like with these, cut thin strips of black adhesive vinyl. Make sure it lines up, and then just trim it around the edges, all the extra piece of those strips out, so that it forms like basically like a circular shape. Let's see. I noticed that for some reason it looks like on the back of that tank there's like this, maybe like a silver license plate looking thing. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I do have some silver I can put on this or something. I gotta look at that again. But that's where I'm at right now. But I think that looks pretty good. Here's, this is one version I have as comparison. Overall, a pretty close looking feel. I still need to paint that black in there too. I might do that while I'm doing this, but let me think about it. And I kind of wanted to create something that looks closer to this, where it has like this kind of cover or something right around the edge of the spotlight, which just is lacking. But I'm not entirely sure how to do that. Oops, just be flush like that more. But overall it's looking pretty good. So that's it for now. Just wanted to update this finally, and we'll see where else I take it. Okay, so I just wanted to add one more thing here, because as I was just looking this thing over, there's a couple of things that stood out to me that I could possibly mess around with, and one of them was this area up here on the turret. If you look before, these were spaced out. Additionally, this was back like in line with this, whatever this is up here, and also these antennas were a bit close and back, and compared to like what I've seen in reference pictures, and this guy, though he's missing this extra, I don't know what you call this, pipe or something, exhaust pipe that might be coming out of the cockpit for some reason, that would be out here. Yeah, this looks like it should be a bit forward of this. Before it was back and closer together, so it's some different pieces. And so I pushed it up and widened the antennas. They were pretty much right next to each other before, so this looks a little bit more in line. And again, these two elements were a bit too in line in the back. This definitely has a more forward pop to it, the spotlight. And additionally, this was like right around here as well on the sides, so it kind of evenly spaced out. But if you look at it, it's actually closer well, there's only so much I can push this around, but it looks like to match this, it should be more in than out on the top of the turret. So I did that. Then I added an extra kind of round plate in here to help push this slightly more forward. I was going to use another one, it's something like this, but I figured that might be a bit too much, so I did that. You know, in retrospect, maybe yeah, it shouldn't exceed, like this is kind of acts as the bar area, right? So that doesn't really extend that far past it, so I guess that's about right. I don't know if I can go back again. I think it'll be too far back because then, you know, where this sticks out, this would pop out to that. It should be more in line with this. But what I plan to do is, you know, the back should be more rounded. So I'm going to get a plate like, basically kind of like this, but it's going to go on the back side here. I think that's going to work. I think, yeah, anyways, I need to get like a rounded piece in back just to round it out, and back's a bit too flat on the back here. So I'm thinking it's something like this piece that I painted, which is basically like this, but I guess it won't fit unless I find a way to invert it. I gotta think about that for a moment and how I'm gonna do that. But that's just some thoughts here. The other thing too was I gotta figure this out too. That I don't think I can do anything about the pipes back here, the exhaust pipes. They look wider. There's only so much I can push it out. I pushed these in a bit more, but I'm still not really completely satisfied with the look of this. Mainly two things. I don't know how I'm going to do it. One thing is that these mounting things work, but this stuff looks a little too skinny. There's something a little more substantial like on the back there. So I gotta find some way to beef up the mounting point so it doesn't look like, you know, this part joining it serves its purpose from most external angles, but when you see it from the back and you know get up in here, this doesn't really sell as well. So I want to find a way to bump that up. I have an idea, but I'm not sure it's going to work. Well, I got to just refine that idea a little bit, and it's got to make sure it's got enough clearance, because any lower it's going to run into the treads, so it's got to maintain this height, if not maybe slightly higher, but it really shouldn't have to go up higher. The main thing is trying to just beef up that area. And the other thing too, I don't think I can do this, is I think these are just a little bit too far back in relationship to where they should be. Yeah, let's feel like I think they should be right about here. But the problem with that is I found that, at least with these mounting points, even if I could swap those, move them back, and then this set move in, what happens is this part is close enough to these pipes that I can't put it in without it interfering with these. They just doesn't really fit that well. There's just enough height in here. These things will just hit the inside of the pipes, and I can't really straighten it. Though it looks like you should have enough space, but actually, in fact, if I move it, it'll actually have to mount on this inner one, which is it's just too close. You can see there's no room for this vertical piece to clear it. It's just gonna hit it, and I can't move these any farther forward because they're hitting the inside structure inside there. This basically as far forward as I can angle it. So I don't know. I mean, they should go really close to that. If you look at this, they're really in there, which looks like it should be about there. But again, it's a matter of clearing this and there, unless I can find some way to mount it in the middle or somewhere in between, which I have an idea, but the problem is I won't have any space to put like these round things bits in there. You know, if I do something more than just move these back, trying to fit some other additional pieces, these things won't fit in there, and they're kind of crucial to create this look over here as best as possible. A little bit close and a bit larger than they should be, but still. I don't know what else I can do about that, but definitely yeah, this just feels like it hangs right off the back a bit too far, and I know that this looks more correct. It's really closer to the turret, and just the pipes in general is just in more. Anyways, again, it's an ongoing process, but I just wanted to share with this last minute change that I just did. I just pushed these around. I had to swap out a couple of plates and pieces in there to make that kind of, and add some detail here to just make that work. I think overall the turret part is pretty good. The shape of it now with the spacing, with all this stuff going on, it's a little bit closer to how it should look like on this. Then there's just the rest of it. Okay, that's it.